You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, a wave of pressure rolls over you. The alarm clock has barely finished ringing, yet your mind is already racing. Emails, bills, deadlines, that text message you forgot to answer, the meeting you are dreading, and somewhere in the background, that quiet whisper, is this really all there is to life? Many people live this same scene every single day. They wake up already tired, already behind, already anxious. They look around and think, maybe if I could just get one more promotion, if I could find the perfect partner, if I could move to a bigger house or drive a better car, then finally, I would be happy. It feels so close, doesn't it? Like happiness is always just one step away, just over the next hill, just after the next achievement. We are told this story again and again. Happiness is something you have to chase, something you have to earn, something waiting for you in the future. And so we run. We run on the treadmill of desire, pushing ourselves harder and harder, believing that the next reward will be the one that finally makes us whole. But the truth is harsher and sadder. Each time we reach the goal, the happiness comes, yes, but it fades quickly. The new job becomes just another job. The new relationship brings its own worries. The new gadget loses its shine after a few weeks. And then the hunger returns. This is the cycle so many of us are caught in, striving, reaching, achieving, and yet never arriving. It is exhausting. It is heartbreaking. It feels like being forever thirsty while drinking salt water. The more you drink, the more you crave, and the less satisfied you become. This is not a personal failure. It is the design of the human mind, always chasing, always wanting. Modern psychology calls it the hedonic treadmill. Ancient wisdom called it the endless cycle of suffering. Different words, same truth. We are trapped in a story of always becoming, never being. But here is the twist that can change everything. What if the peace you are searching for was never actually missing? What if it was already here, hidden in plain sight, quietly waiting within you? There is a story told in old villages about a farmer who lost his ox. He searched everywhere, calling, shouting, running through fields and forests, desperate to find it. Hours passed. Exhaustion set in. He felt broken, empty, hopeless. And then, finally, he stopped. He looked up, and there in the meadow, just a few steps away, the ox was grazing calmly, as if it had never been gone. The farmer laughed, tears in his eyes, realizing all the frantic searching had been unnecessary. In the same way, we spend years, sometimes entire lives, hunting for a peace that was never lost. We search outside, in careers, in relationships, in achievements, while the truth sits patiently inside, untouched, waiting for us to notice. Imagine for a moment, what if you stopped running? What if, instead of chasing happiness like a prize to be earned, you allowed yourself to rest in the simple fact that right here, right now, you are enough? That the completeness you long for is not in the next milestone, but in the quiet awareness behind your thoughts, in the stillness underneath your struggles. I know this sounds almost too simple, and yet think back to times in your life when you felt truly at peace. Was it always after a big achievement? Or was it sometimes in small, ordinary moments? Sitting with a friend in silence, watching the sunset without needing anything more, hearing laughter spill across a room. For those brief moments, the mind stopped chasing and you felt whole. The truth is, peace has never been far away. It has always been as close as your own breath. But because we are trained to look outward, to measure ourselves by what we gain, we overlook the treasure within. And this is why so many of us feel restless, even when life looks successful on the outside. You see this everywhere. The millionaire who cannot sleep without pills. The celebrity who smiles on stage, but cries alone backstage. The hardworking parent who gives everything to the family, but quietly wonders why happiness never seems to arrive. The search goes on, but the destination never comes. Because the destination is not out there. It never was. The destination is here, now, inside. Imagine if you carried a treasure chest everywhere you went, but never opened it. You would live poor, desperate, always begging, even though wealth was with you all along. That is the human condition. We carry peace within, but we do not trust it. We think it must come from outside, from others, from achievements. So we run and run and run, and we end up tired, anxious, disconnected from ourselves. What if you could step off the treadmill, even for a moment? What if you could pause the chase, breathe deeply, and notice the richness of simply being alive right now? This is not an escape from responsibility. It is not pretending problems do not exist. It is discovering that even in the middle of stress, even in the middle of pressure, there is a deeper layer of you that is always calm, always whole. This realization is the first doorway, the first shift, and it does not come from buying something new or achieving something impressive. It comes from turning inward, gently, with curiosity. In the next part of this journey, we will explore how to do that. But for now, let this truth sink in. Your essential peace has never been lost. It has only been overlooked. And once you stop searching frantically, once you pause and look within, you may find that the peace you have been chasing all your life has been grazing quietly in the meadow of your own heart all along. Think about the way most of us move through a normal day. The phone is the first thing we reach for, not because we truly want to, but because we feel we must. Notifications pull our attention before we even have time to notice how we are feeling. We scroll through the news, already carrying the weight of the world before breakfast. We compare ourselves with strangers on social media, wondering why our lives don't look as polished, as successful, as happy. By the time we leave the house, we are already tired, already running. And the question underneath all of this remains the same. When will I finally feel at peace? Some people try to answer this question by pushing harder at work, convinced that if they climb high enough, the view from the top will be different. Others search for it in relationships, placing all their hope in another person, only to discover that even love cannot fill the endless hunger of the restless mind. Some turn to distraction shopping, entertainment, food, substances, anything to numb the aching sense that something is missing. But none of it lasts. None of it brings the permanent peace we crave. The more we chase, the further it seems to slip away. And this is the painful irony. The more desperate we become to secure happiness, the more fragile and fleeting it feels. It is like trying to hold water tightly in your fists. The harder you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. Now imagine a different way. Imagine that instead of chasing peace, you allow yourself to stop and notice it, like a quiet melody always playing in the background. The noise of life has drowned it out, but the song has never stopped. It is there in the pause between two breaths. It is there in the moment you truly taste your food, instead of eating mindlessly. It is there in the silence of the night when you let yourself rest, even for a moment, without thinking about tomorrow. This is not about escaping life. It is about awakening to the life that is already here. The Buddha once compared the human experience to a man searching desperately for a jewel, while all along it was sewn into the lining of his own robe. We are that man. We look everywhere: jobs, possessions, recognition, never realizing the jewel has been with us the entire time. The modern world only magnifies this blindness. Advertisements tell us we are incomplete, but that we can buy wholeness if we just purchase the right product. Social media shows us curated lives, convincing us that everyone else has found the secret we are missing. The economy itself is designed to feed on our dissatisfaction. And yet, no matter how many things we collect, we cannot buy the feeling of truly belonging to ourselves. Peace is not for sale because it was never outside of us. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You see your reflection, but if the mirror is covered in dust, you cannot recognize yourself clearly. Does that mean your true face is gone? Of course not. It is only hidden. In the same way, our constant striving covers over the quiet truth of who we are. We are not broken. We are not missing. We are only clouded by layers of craving and fear. And when we let the dust settle, even for a moment, we glimpse the peace that has always been here. Think of children playing. They can laugh freely over the simplest things. A cardboard box becomes a castle. A puddle becomes an asterisk ocean. They have not yet learned to chase happiness in the future. They live in it now. We were all once like that. And though the world has piled responsibilities on our shoulders, the capacity for simple presence is still inside us. It never left. The journey back is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering what was always there. So how do we begin to remember? The first step is surprisingly simple. Pause. Pause in the middle of your day, even for a few seconds. Feel your breath moving in and out. Notice the sensations in your body. Allow your shoulders to relax. For a brief moment, stop chasing. Do nothing. Just be. At first, it might feel strange. Your mind might protest, insisting you must keep moving, keep producing, keep worrying. But if you stay with it gently, you will discover something remarkable. Underneath the noise of thought, there is a quiet space, a calmness, a presence. That is the peace you thought was missing. That is the meadow where the ox was grazing all along. This peace does not depend on circumstances. It does not depend on everything being perfect. It is here even in the middle of stress, even in the middle of heartbreak. And once you recognize it, even faintly, something begins to change. You no longer run as desperately after every promise of happiness. You see the cycle for what it is. You begin to step off the treadmill, and the freedom of that step is immense. Picture a bird who has been trapped in a cage for years, fluttering anxiously, hitting the bars again and again. One day, the door opens. At first, the bird may not believe it. It hesitates, unsure, but eventually, it spreads its wings and feels the sky. That is what it means to discover that peace was never lost. The cage of craving was never the truth. The sky was waiting the entire time. And here is the beauty. When you touch this peace, even for a few moments, it changes how you live. Work is still there, but you are no longer crushed by it. Relationships still have challenges, but you no longer depend on them to complete you. Success is still sweet, but you no longer fear its passing. You begin to carry a quiet confidence, a sense that no matter what happens, you are already enough. And in that enoughness, a deeper kind of joy blossoms, one that is not about getting something new, but about recognizing what has always been yours. This is the first great truth on our journey together. The missing piece was never missing. It was only hidden beneath the rush of our lives, the noise of our thoughts, the illusions of the world. And once you begin to see it, you cannot unsee it. The chase no longer owns you. You begin to walk differently, breathe differently, live differently. You are no longer searching for home because you realize you were standing in it all along. As we move forward, we will explore other struggles of modern life and the wisdom that can guide us through them. But carry this seed with you. Peace is not a prize to be won, but a truth to be remembered. Every time you pause, every time you breathe, every time you stop running, you return to that truth. And little by little, step by step, it becomes not just a glimpse, but the foundation of your life. There are moments in life when it feels as if the entire world is conspiring against you. You are stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting, and every red light seems to appear just to test your patience. Or you sit at your desk trying to finish a project, and suddenly the computer freezes, your email fills with demands, and your phone buzzes relentlessly with notifications. In those moments, irritation rises like fire. The heart beats faster, the jaw tightens, the breath becomes shallow. It feels as if the universe itself is pushing you, mocking you, making life harder than it has to be. And when this irritation repeats day after day, it shapes us. We begin to believe that peace is impossible unless the world changes first. We think, if only people would drive faster, if only my boss would be kinder, if only my family would cooperate, then I could finally relax. But life does not work that way. The world rarely bends to our wishes. Instead, it bends us over and over until we either break or we learn to bend with it. There is an old saying from Asia, "A mighty oak stands tall and rigid, but in the storm it can be uprooted." The bamboo, on the other hand, bends with the wind. It sways, it moves, it yields. But when the storm passes, the bamboo still stands. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is resilience born from flexibility. In our modern lives, we are taught the opposite. We are told to fight, to control, to resist. If something does not go our way, we treat it as an attack, as an insult, as proof that life is unfair. But the truth is, most of our suffering does not come from what happens to us. It comes from our refusal to accept what is happening. The traffic jam is not suffering. The suffering is our insistence that it should not be there. The difficult coworker is not suffering. The suffering is our demand that they must behave the way we want. The notification is not suffering. The suffering is our attachment to uninterrupted quiet in a world that is always buzzing. In other words, we fight reality, and reality always wins. Imagine standing in a river. The current is strong, pulling you downstream. You have two choices. You can fight with all your strength, trying to push against the water, shouting in anger at the flow. Or you can turn, align with it, and allow it to carry you. The river does not change, but your relationship with it does. That is the essence of bending like bamboo. When we accept reality as it is, instead of how we demand it to be, something inside us softens. The body relaxes, the breath deepens, the mind clears. This does not mean we give up on change or improvement. It means we stop adding unnecessary resistance to what already is. We stop turning life into an enemy. And in that moment, a door opens. Acceptance is not passivity. It is strength. It is choosing clarity over chaos, wisdom over reactivity. Think of the last time you were caught in frustration. Maybe you were arguing with someone you love. The more you resisted their words, the more you demanded that they see things your way, the angrier you both became. The harder you pushed, the more stuck you felt. But if at some point you paused, breathed, and softened, even slightly, you noticed the energy shift. Suddenly, you were no longer trapped in the same loop. By bending, you created space. By yielding, you found freedom. Science now confirms what ancient wisdom has always taught. When we resist reality, our stress hormones spike. The body goes into fight or flight mode. Blood pressure rises, muscles tense, the heart works harder. Over time, this constant resistance damages the body and drains the spirit. But when we practice acceptance, the nervous system calms. The brain shifts from survival mode to clarity and problem solving. Flexibility literally changes the chemistry of our being. In other words, bending with life does not only protect the soul, it protects the body too. Picture a surfer riding waves. The ocean is unpredictable, always shifting, always moving. The surfer cannot control the waves, but they can learn to move with them, to balance, to ride. And in doing so, they transform the chaos of the sea into joy. That is the art of the bamboo. Life's waves will never stop, but we can learn to ride them with grace. Imagine living like that. Instead of being thrown into anger every time something goes wrong, you bend. Instead of fighting against delays, you breathe. Instead of clinging to your plan as the only possible way, you open to what the moment offers. Life does not become easier, but it becomes lighter. And you become stronger, not because you are rigid, but because you are flexible. True resilience is not about being unshakable. It is about being unbreakable because you can adapt. And adaptation begins with acceptance. This is not always easy. Our conditioning tells us that to accept is to lose. To bend is to surrender. But look again at the bamboo in the storm. It bends, yes, but when the winds calm, it is still there, standing tall. The tree that refused to bend has been uprooted. Which one is truly stronger? Which one survives? In your own life, consider where you are fighting reality. Is it in your work, where you demand perfection from yourself and others only to burn out? Is it in your family, where you cling to old expectations instead of meeting people where they are? Is it in yourself, where you resist your own feelings, pushing them down instead of listening to them? Each time you fight what is, you create unnecessary suffering. Each time you bend, you discover a hidden strength. Begin to notice. The next time frustration rises, pause. Ask yourself, what am I resisting? What if I allowed this moment to be as it is? What if I bent instead of fought? You might be surprised at the peace that comes, not from changing the world, but from changing your relationship with it. That is the wisdom of the bamboo. It is not glamorous. It will not win applause, but it will free you from the storm that rages in your own mind. And when you discover this freedom, you will see that peace is not the absence of chaos. It is the choice to remain steady in the middle of it. Think of the times you have tried to control everything around you. You made the perfect plan, organized every detail, set every deadline, and then life came along with its unpredictable hand. A storm canceled your flight. A sudden illness changed your schedule. Someone you depended on made a mistake. And suddenly, all the effort, all the precision, all the control dissolved in front of you. The first reaction, for most of us, is anger. We feel cheated. We ask, why me? Why now? But if we look deeper, the real pain is not in the event itself. It is in our refusal to let go of control. We imagine that if we push hard enough, if we grip tightly enough, the world will finally move according to our will. But life is not a machine. It does not obey our commands. It is more like the wind, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, always moving in ways beyond our understanding. When we fight the wind, we exhaust ourselves. When we learn to bend with it, we discover a hidden grace. This is the secret the bamboo has been teaching for thousands of years. It bends not because it is weak, but because it is wise. It knows that resistance against the storm only leads to breaking. And so it yields, and by yielding, it survives. We can live the same way. Consider your own relationships. How many arguments come not from genuine differences, but from the need to be right, to have the last word, to control the outcome? Imagine what would happen if, instead of insisting, you paused, listened, and allowed the other person to be as they are. That does not mean you agree with everything. It means you bend instead of snap. And in that bending, you create space for connection, for understanding, for peace. In the workplace, the same principle applies. There are people who drain us, situations that frustrate us, demands that feel endless. If we resist every inconvenience as if it were a personal attack, our energy is gone before the day is half over. But if we meet each challenge with the flexibility of bamboo, something changes. The angry email is no longer a fire to be fought. It is simply words on a screen, and we can choose how to respond. The delay is no longer a disaster. It is simply time, and we can choose how to use it. Flexibility turns frustration into opportunity. In our bodies too, this truth is mirrored. Tension accumulates when we resist what is happening. Shoulders rise, jaws clench, stomachs tighten. The body holds the fight against reality. But when we let go, even slightly, the body follows. Muscles soften, the breath deepens, the heart slows. The shift is immediate. It is as if the body has been waiting all along for us to stop fighting. And the more often we do this, the more natural it becomes. Slowly, flexibility becomes not just a reaction, but a way of being. Now, someone might ask, if I always bend, won't I be taken advantage of? Won't people walk over me? Won't I lose my strength? But here is the paradox. Bending does not mean surrendering your values or your boundaries. It means choosing when to stand firm and when to yield. The bamboo bends in the wind, but its roots remain strong in the earth. Its flexibility does not erase its strength. In fact, it is what makes its strength possible. True resilience is not brittle. It is alive. Think of a martial artist who redirects the opponent's force instead of blocking it head-on. Think of a river that flows around rocks instead of stopping before them. These are images of power, not weakness. Power that adapts. Power that flows. Power that lasts. And so it is with us. When we stop demanding that life obey us, when we meet it with openness instead of resistance, we find ourselves calmer, clearer, freer. Problems still come, but they no longer crush us. Storms still blow, but they no longer uproot us. We begin to carry a quiet confidence that whatever comes, we can bend and not break. This is the invitation of the bamboo. To live with flexibility, not rigidity. To see acceptance not as defeat, but as wisdom. To stop treating every inconvenience as an enemy, and instead, to meet life as a teacher. Every delay, every frustration, every storm is a chance to practice. A chance to soften. A chance to discover that true strength is not in controlling the world, but in shaping our response to it. And in that discovery, life itself changes. The storms do not stop, but our suffering does. The chaos does not end, but our inner quiet deepens. We realize that peace is not found in a perfect world, but in the heart that bends with the world as it is. So the next time you feel yourself hardening, resisting, fighting against what you cannot control, pause. Remember the bamboo. Remember its strength in softness. Remember that flexibility is not weakness, but wisdom. And ask yourself, can I bend here just a little? Can I allow this moment to be, instead of breaking myself against it? That small choice can transform the storm into a teacher, the chaos into a path, the frustration into freedom. That is the wisdom of the bamboo, and it is available to you in every breath, in every moment. In every storm dot, there is a sweetness that life offers us. The sweetness of a compliment, the sweetness of a paycheck, the sweetness of falling in love, of tasting your favorite food, of hearing applause. In those moments, everything feels alive, brighter, full of possibility. You think this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And for a little while, it is. The world feels lighter, and the hunger inside you quiets down. But then something happens. The moment passes. The food is gone. The applause fades. The newness of love is tested by daily life. And what was once sweetness turns into craving. You want more. You need more. The first bite was delicious, so you eat the whole cake. The first drink felt warm, so you pour another and another. The first thrill of a purchase is intoxicating, so you keep buying, hoping the next one will fill the emptiness. What once was delight becomes a trap. What once felt like honey now carries a hidden poison. This is not to say pleasure is wrong. Pleasure is part of being human. The problem comes when we cling to it, when we confuse temporary sweetness with lasting peace. Neuroscience has studied this and given it a name, the dopamine loop. Each time we taste pleasure, the brain rewards us. But the brain also adapts, and soon the same pleasure no longer feels as strong. We need a little more, a little stronger, a little faster. Over time, the pursuit of pleasure stops being joyful and starts being desperate. This is the hidden poison in the sweetness. Ancient wisdom saw this long before science put it into charts and scans. Teachers spoke of craving as a fire always hungry, never satisfied. It burns brighter the more we feed it, consuming our energy, our clarity, our freedom. Think about your own life. Have you ever stayed up late, scrolling endlessly on your phone, long past the point of enjoyment? Have you ever kept eating when you were already full, because stopping felt harder than continuing? Have you ever checked your email or messages again and again, even when you knew nothing new was there? These are not just habits. They are signs of the craving mind, the poison hidden in the sweetness. The trap is subtle because at first it feels harmless. At first it feels good. That's why we call it honey. But slowly it drains us. It makes us restless, anxious, dependent. It tells us that happiness is always one step away, in the next bite, the next purchase, the next like on our post. And so we run and run and run, but never arrive. Imagine a donkey chasing a carrot tied to a stick in front of its nose. The donkey runs harder, thinking the carrot is just within reach, but no matter how fast it moves, the carrot stays out of reach. That is how craving keeps us trapped. Always moving, never arriving. Always hoping, never satisfied. But here is the truth that can free us. Joy does not come from clinging. It comes from tasting fully, then letting go. Think of eating a piece of fruit when you are hungry. The first bite is refreshing, satisfying. If you stay with that one bite, noticing its flavor, its texture, its sweetness, you feel nourished. But if you keep shoving bite after bite, searching for the same thrill, the pleasure fades and discomfort takes its place. The fruit did not betray you. Your clinging did. The Buddha once said, attachment is like holding on to a burning coal, believing it will warm you, when in truth, it only burns your hand. The same is true with pleasure. It is not the sweetness itself that harms us. It is our desperate need to make it last forever. But nothing lasts forever. This is not a curse. It is the nature of life. Seasons change, flowers bloom and wither, days turn to nights. To fight impermanence is to fight the very fabric of existence. And yet, when we accept impermanence, something surprising happens. We are no longer trapped. We can enjoy the sweetness of life without turning it into poison. A sunset becomes beautiful, not because it lasts, but because it doesn't. A laugh becomes precious, not because it will echo forever, but because it shines brightly in the moment it appears. When we stop clinging, every experience becomes richer, deeper, freer. Imagine holding a butterfly. If you squeeze it, you crush its wings. But if you let it rest gently in your hand, it may stay for a while, and even if it flies away, you can remember its beauty without pain. That is how we must hold the sweetness of life, with gentleness, with openness, without clinging. In the modern world, this lesson is more urgent than ever. Everywhere we turn, there are promises of instant gratification ads, telling us we can be happier with just one more purchase. Apps designed to hook our attention, foods engineered to make us crave more. The cycle is powerful, but you are not powerless. You can step back. You can notice the craving, smile at it, and choose not to feed it endlessly. You can still enjoy the honey, but without swallowing the poison. This is not about denying pleasure. It is about freeing yourself from slavery to it. It is about tasting life fully, then letting it go. That freedom is sweeter than any craving could ever be. Picture yourself walking into a store after a long week. You're tired, stressed, and your mind tells you that a small reward will help. You buy something new, a shirt, a gadget, a bottle of wine. In that moment, there is a rush, a lift, a wave of pleasure. But notice what happens a few days later. The shirt is just another piece of clothing in your closet. The gadget is left on the table, barely used. The wine is gone, the bottle empty, and the feeling you were searching for has faded. This is the cycle of craving. Pleasure arrives, pleasure passes, craving remains. And because the craving remains, you feel you must start again. One more purchase, one more thrill, one more taste of sweetness. This is how the poison hides. Not in the first moment of joy, but in the mind that refuses to let joy be temporary. Think of it like drinking seawater when you are thirsty. The first sip might feel wet. It might even trick you into thinking relief is near. But the more you drink, the more dehydrated you become. The promise of satisfaction turns into deeper thirst. And the tragedy is, many of us live our entire lives this way, drinking seawater, chasing highs, never realizing that the very thing we believe will save us is what keeps us restless. This is why the wisdom of letting go is so powerful. Letting go is not about rejecting pleasure. It is not about living a life of cold denial. It is about seeing clearly that clinging to pleasure only leads to pain. When you understand this, you begin to change how you experience life. A piece of chocolate can be enjoyed fully, but you don't need the whole box. A moment of praise can warm your heart, but you don't depend on constant validation. A new experience can thrill you, but you don't need to repeat it endlessly to feel alive. You become free to enjoy what comes and free to release it when it goes. Imagine sitting by a river. The water flows past, carrying leaves, carrying twigs, carrying reflections of light. You do not need to grab each leaf and hold it. You can simply watch, appreciating each one, then letting it drift away. Life is like this river. Experiences come, they sparkle, and then they pass. If you cling to them, you suffer. If you let them flow, you are free. Consider relationships. Falling in love is one of the sweetest experiences of being human. But even love changes. The early fire becomes quieter. The passion becomes partnership. If you cling to the fire, demanding it stay forever, you become disappointed, anxious, bitter. But if you embrace the change, if you let love evolve instead of trying to trap it, you discover something deeper, a companionship that can outlast the rush of the first kiss. This is the difference between clinging and letting be. Clinging turns honey into poison. Letting be allows honey to stay sweet. Our culture tells us otherwise. It insists that we must chase more, hold more, demand more. It tells us that satisfaction lies just beyond our reach if only we try harder. But you have seen this lie enough times to know it doesn't work. You have seen how the promise of happiness fades, how the sweetness becomes bitterness. And now you are being offered a different way. The way of freedom, the way of presence, the way of enjoying without clinging. Some people fear this teaching. They think, if I stop clinging, will life become empty? Will I lose motivation, desire, passion? But the opposite is true. When you let go of clinging, you don't lose joy, you expand it. You begin to notice the smaller joys that were drowned out by craving. The taste of simple food, the sound of rain on the window, the warmth of a friend's smile. You find that joy does not have to be dramatic to be deep. And you realize that the less you cling, the more alive you feel. This is not theory. You can test it for yourself. The next time you eat something delicious, slow down. Really taste it. Notice the flavor, the texture, the way it feels in your mouth. Enjoy it completely. And then stop before craving pushes you for more. Sit with the satisfaction. Let the experience end naturally. You will find that the memory is sweeter when it is not spoiled by excess. This simple practice can be extended to everything: music, work, relationships. Taste fully, then release. Experience completely, then let go. This is the art of living without poisoning your joy. In the end, craving is not the enemy. It is a teacher. It shows us where we are attached, where we are trapped. Each craving is an invitation to wake up, to choose freedom instead of compulsion. When you recognize this, you stop being a prisoner of desire and start being a student of it. Every temptation becomes a lesson. Every moment of longing becomes a chance to practice letting go. And slowly, the fire of craving cools. Slowly, the poison loses its power. What remains is not emptiness, but fullness. A fullness that comes not from grabbing at life, but from being present with it. This fullness is what ancient wisdom called true contentment. A joy that does not depend on conditions. A peace that no craving can touch. And once you taste this deeper sweetness, you realize it was what you were searching for all along. We live in a culture that celebrates extremes. Work harder, push longer, sacrifice sleep, sacrifice health, climb higher, faster, stronger. And when that becomes unbearable, the pendulum swings to the other side. Indulge yourself, escape, binge on comfort, drown your exhaustion in food, in drink, in entertainment. Back and forth, discipline and indulgence, punishment and escape. It feels as if these are the only two choices, but neither brings peace. When we punish ourselves endlessly with rigid discipline, our bodies may be productive, but our spirits wither. When we abandon ourselves to indulgence, our bodies may feel pleasure, but our spirits are restless, unsatisfied. We bounce between the two, like a pendulum that never rests. This is why so many people feel exhausted, no matter what they do. They work hard, then collapse. They try to be strict, then rebel. They live in cycles of guilt and craving, but never in balance. Ancient wisdom saw this long ago. The Buddha himself tried the extreme path of self-denial. He fasted until his body grew weak, punished himself with harsh practices, believing that suffering was the price of enlightenment. But what did he discover? That starving the body only starves the mind too. That pain for its own sake does not bring wisdom. And so he turned away from extremes. He sat beneath a tree and found the middle path. The middle path is not glamorous. It does not sound dramatic. It is not the kind of story that makes headlines. But it is the way of balance, the way of harmony, the way that allows both body and spirit to thrive. To walk the middle path is to see that life is not an all-or-nothing contest. It is not about endless denial, and it is not about reckless indulgence. It is about learning how to live with wisdom and compassion, like two wings of a bird. Imagine a bird trying to fly with only one wing. If it has only wisdom, discipline, logic, order, it flaps furiously, but only spins in circles. If it has only compassion, kindness, softness, indulgence, it flutters weakly and cannot rise. But when both wings move together, the bird soars. That is what it means to live with balance. To care for yourself with discipline, but also with kindness. To work with focus, but also to rest with trust. To guide yourself firmly, but also to forgive yourself gently. Think about the way you speak to yourself in your mind. For many people, the inner voice is harsh, critical, demanding. You're not good enough. You should have done more. You failed again. That is discipline without compassion, and it crushes the heart. On the other hand, sometimes the inner voice excuses everything. It doesn't matter. Just ignore it. Just escape. You don't need to try. That is compassion without wisdom. And it leaves us stagnant, drifting without growth. But when wisdom and compassion work together, the voice changes. It says, yes, you made a mistake, but you can learn. Yes, this is hard, but you can grow. Yes, you are imperfect, but you are still worthy of love. That is the middle path, and it transforms the way we live. Consider health. Some people punish their bodies with strict diets, rigid exercise, treating the body like an enemy to be conquered. Others abandon their bodies to indulgence, eating without care, neglecting movement, drowning themselves in excess. Both paths lead to suffering. The middle path is different. It is not about punishment, and it is not about neglect. It is about listening to the body, nourishing it, respecting it, enjoying it without abusing it. It is about balance. Consider work. Some people drive themselves endlessly, chasing success, burning out their energy, losing their families, losing themselves. Others avoid responsibility, drift through life, never using their gifts, never building anything meaningful. Both paths lead to emptiness. The middle path is different. It is about working with intention, using your energy to create and contribute, but also knowing when to rest, when to step back, when to breathe. It is about balance. Balance does not mean mediocrity. It does not mean living a small life. It means living a sustainable life. A life where you can grow without breaking, give without draining, achieve without losing yourself. This is the middle path. It is not easy. Extremes are tempting because they feel simple. Discipline says, just push harder, no matter what. Indulgence says, just give up, no matter what. Balance is harder. It requires attention, asterisk reflection, courage. But it is also more rewarding because it leads not to exhaustion, not to stagnation, but to harmony. The Buddha taught that the middle path is the way to freedom because it keeps us from the chains of both extremes. It keeps us from being slaves to punishment, and it keeps us from being slaves to craving. It allows us to live with both wisdom and compassion, strength and softness, discipline and kindness. And when we live this way, life itself changes. Work becomes meaningful instead of crushing. Rest becomes nourishing instead of guilty. Growth becomes joyful instead of painful. And love for ourselves, for others, becomes possible in a way it never was before. Imagine a musician tuning a string. If the string is too tight, it snaps. If it is too loose, it makes no sound. But when it is tuned just right, it creates music. That is what the middle path offers. Not silence, not snapping, but music. The music of a life in harmony. Think of the times when you tried to improve yourself. Maybe you set a strict schedule, determined to wake up earlier, exercise more, meditate daily, eat perfectly. For a while, it felt good. You felt in control, strong, almost invincible. But then life interrupted. You overslept one morning, skipped the workout, ate something outside your plan, and immediately a voice in your head turned sharp. You failed. You're weak. You'll never change. What was meant to be growth turned into punishment. This is the trap of wisdom without compassion, discipline without kindness. It drives us forward, but with a whip, not with love. And eventually, it burns us out. On the other hand, maybe you've experienced the opposite. You set goals, but never kept them. You told yourself, it doesn't matter. I deserve to relax. I'll try tomorrow. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and nothing changed. You drifted, restless, unsatisfied, knowing you were capable of more, but never quite reaching it. This is the trap of compassion without wisdom. kindness without direction. It soothes us, but it also leaves us stuck. Both traps create suffering. Both traps keep us from living fully. But there is another way. Imagine again the bird with two wings. Wisdom is one wing discipline, clarity, focus. Compassion is the other, kindness, forgiveness, gentleness. Alone, each wing is incomplete. Together, they allow us to soar. This is the middle path, not as a theory, but as a lived practice. What does this look like in daily life? It looks like setting goals, but holding them with kindness. It looks like working hard, but also resting without guilt. It looks like speaking firmly to yourself, but also softly. For example, if you miss a day of practice, instead of saying, "I failed," you say, "I missed today, but I can begin again tomorrow." That is wisdom guiding you and compassion carrying you. Or imagine a parent teaching a child to ride a bicycle. If the parent is all discipline, they shout, "Don't fall. Try harder. Stop being weak." The child grows afraid, ashamed, and riding becomes painful. If the parent is all compassion, they say, "It's okay. Don't worry. You don't need to try if you don't want to." The child never learns, never discovers their strength. But if the parent blends both, they say, "You can do this. It's okay if you fall. Falling is part of learning. I believe in you." The child feels both challenged and supported. And that is how growth happens. That is how love and wisdom work together. The same is true in how we treat ourselves. We must be both teacher and friend, guide and supporter. Too much of one without the other, and we lose our balance. With both, we find our path. In the modern world, this balance is rare. We are encouraged to hustle endlessly, to glorify exhaustion, to treat rest as laziness. Or we are encouraged to escape endlessly, to numb ourselves with distractions, to avoid the deeper work of growth. But the middle path whispers a different truth. You don't have to live at the extremes. You can live in balance. You can honor your need for rest without abandoning your goals. You can push yourself to grow without punishing your soul. Balance may sound ordinary, but in reality, it is revolutionary, because it frees you from the cycle of self-attack and self-abandonment. It frees you from the pendulum swing of punishment and indulgence. It allows you to walk steadily, step by step, on a path that actually leads somewhere. And slowly, you begin to notice something remarkable. When you live this way, you feel lighter. You no longer carry the heavy weight of guilt, because compassion softens your mistakes. You no longer carry the heavy weight of restlessness, because wisdom keeps you moving. You find yourself breathing easier, smiling more often, feeling more at home in your own skin. You begin to live like the musician with the perfectly tuned string. Not too tight, not too loose, but just right. And from that tuning comes music. A life in balance is like a song, steady, flowing, harmonious. Not every note is perfect, but the melody carries on. The Buddha called this harmony the middle path, but you don't need to call it anything. You can feel it for yourself. The next time you catch yourself being harsh, pause and ask, what would kindness add here? The next time you catch yourself drifting, pause and ask, what would wisdom add here? In that simple practice, you bring the two wings together. And when the two wings move together, you rise. This is not an abstract idea. It is something you can try today, right now. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Slowly, your life stops swinging wildly between extremes. Slowly, it becomes steady, balanced, peaceful. That is the gift of the middle path. It does not promise dramatic highs or lows. It promises something greater, a way of living that is sustainable, compassionate, wise. A way of living where growth and love walk hand in hand. And in that way of living, you discover a deeper freedom, the freedom of not being at war with yourself, the freedom of flying with both wings. We live in an age where opinions have become weapons. Scroll through social media and you will see it. People shouting at one another across digital walls, each certain that they alone hold the truth. Families are divided, friendships end, communities fracture, not because people are evil, but because they cling so tightly to their own perspective that they can no longer hear anyone else. We see the world through narrow windows and mistake those fragments for the entire landscape. There is an old story about blind men who encounter an elephant for the first time. One touches the trunk and declares, "It's a snake." Another touches the leg and insists, "No, it's a tree." A third feels the ear and argues, "You are both wrong, it's a fan." Soon they are shouting, convinced that each is correct and the others are fools. And in a way, each of them is correct, but none of them is complete. The truth is larger than any one perspective, and until they listen to one another, they will never see the whole elephant. We are like those blind men. Each of us sees life through the lens of our experiences, our upbringing, our culture, our struggles, our successes. And from that limited view, we create convictions, beliefs, ideologies. But if we mistake our small piece of truth for the entire truth, we become rigid. We close our ears. We build walls. And the result is division, anger, conflict. Humility is the antidote. Humility is not weakness, not self-deprecation, not pretending you have no wisdom. It is the simple recognition that no matter how much you know, you do not know everything. That your perspective, while valuable, is not the whole picture. Humility creates space for listening. It softens the heart enough to say, maybe I don't see it all. Maybe there is something I can learn here. And in that space, connection becomes possible again. Think of the last time you were in an argument. Notice how quickly the mind rushes to defend itself, to craft responses while the other person is still speaking. Notice how hard it is to truly listen. Why? Because the ego feels threatened. The ego equates being wrong with being worthless. And so it fights, even when fighting brings only pain. But what happens if, instead of defending, you pause and listen? What happens if you allow yourself to hear the truth in another's words, even if it challenges your own? You do not have to agree with everything. But by listening, by considering, you begin to see a wider view. The elephant grows larger in your mind. The truth expands. This is what humility offers. Not the loss of your voice, but the widening of your vision. In our divided world, this practice is revolutionary. Imagine a political debate where each side admitted, we see part of the truth, but not all. Imagine families where parents could say to children, I may not understand everything about your experience, but I want to learn. Imagine friendships where disagreements were not endings, but doorways into deeper understanding. This is not naive. It is possible, but it requires humility, the courage to hold our beliefs lightly, the strength to admit that we may be wrong, the openness to be taught by those we least expect. Science supports this too. Studies in psychology show that people who approach life with intellectual humility, acknowledging the limits of their knowledge, are less anxious, less defensive, more resilient. They learn faster. They connect deeper. They navigate conflict with more grace. Humility is not a loss. It is a superpower. Consider the great teachers of history, the ones who inspired, who united, who transformed lives. Were they the loudest voices, the most arrogant? No, they were the ones who listened, who welcomed questions, who admitted mystery, who honored the dignity of every perspective, even those that opposed them. They were strong, but their strength came not from certainty, but from openness. Humility does not mean silence. It does not mean erasing your convictions. It means holding them with gentleness instead of aggression, with curiosity instead of fear. It means standing in your truth, but leaving space for others to stand in theirs. And in that space, a bridge appears. Imagine our world if more of us lived this way. Imagine workplaces where coworkers saw disagreements as opportunities instead of threats. Imagine communities where differences became gifts instead of dangers. Imagine your own life, lighter because you no longer carried the heavy burden of always needing to be right. This is the gift of humility. It frees us from the prison of certainty. It opens us to learning. It heals divisions, both within ourselves and with others. The elephant is vast, and none of us sees it fully. But together, with humility, we can glimpse more of the whole. And in that shared vision, peace becomes possible again. Think about the moments when someone challenged your beliefs. Maybe it was a colleague who saw a problem differently, a friend who voted for the opposite candidate, or a family member who questioned a value you've held for years. Notice what happens inside. The chest tightens, the jaw sets, the mind leaps to defend itself. Before a single word is spoken, the inner courtroom is already in session. You have your evidence, your arguments, your certainty. And in that moment, the goal is no longer truth. The goal is victory. To win. To prove the other wrong. But what if truth is not about winning? What if truth is too large, too vast, too mysterious to be fully owned by any one person? This is the lesson of the elephant. Each blind man held a fragment of truth. The trunk is not the whole animal, but it is not a lie. The leg is not the whole animal, but it is not a lie. The ear, the tail, the tusk, all partial truths, mistaken for the whole. We live in the same mistake. We confuse our piece of the elephant for the entire being. And so we argue, we divide, we even hate. But humility invites us into a different posture. Humility invites us to hold our truths like open hands instead of clenched fists. It does not erase conviction. It tempers it with curiosity. It says, "This is what I see, but I know it is not everything. Show me what you see." That shift changes everything. Suddenly, disagreements become opportunities. Suddenly, the person you thought was your enemy becomes your teacher, showing you a part of the elephant you had never touched before. Imagine the relief of no longer needing to be right all the time. Imagine the freedom of entering conversations not as battles, but as explorations. Suddenly, you are lighter. Suddenly, the world feels less hostile. Humility does not just heal relationships with others. It heals the relationship with yourself. Because deep down, you know that you do not have all the answers. You know that sometimes you are wrong. Sometimes you are blind. Sometimes you are limited. When you cling to certainty, you create a constant inner tension, pretending to be more complete than you really are. But when you accept your limits, you breathe easier. You allow yourself to be human. You allow yourself to grow. Think of water. It takes the shape of any container it enters. It does not lose itself by being flexible. It expresses itself more fully. In the same way, humility allows you to adapt, to learn, to expand. It does not erase who you are. It makes you more. Look at the most divided places in our world: politics, religion, culture. At the root of division is the same error, mistaking part of the elephant for the whole. If both sides could step back and say, "We may each hold part of the truth," then dialogue could replace conflict. Not agreement on everything, but respect. Not uniformity, but unity. This does not mean we must accept harmful actions or abandon justice. It means we fight for justice without arrogance. We speak with conviction without contempt. We act firmly without forgetting that even those we oppose may see a fragment we cannot. Humility keeps us strong but soft, grounded but open. Without it, we become brittle, unable to grow. With it, we become like bamboo, bending yet unbroken, rooted yet expansive. The practice of humility begins small. The next time you are tempted to argue, pause. Ask yourself, is my goal to win, or is my goal to learn? Can I admit that I might be missing part of the elephant? Can I listen as if the other person has something valuable to teach me, even if I disagree? These small shifts ripple outward. Over time, they change the way you see the world. Suddenly, every person becomes a mirror, showing you another angle of truth. Suddenly, every conversation becomes a chance to expand. And slowly, the walls of division begin to crumble. Humility also brings peace within. Because once you no longer need to be right all the time, you stop fighting battles inside your own head. You stop replaying arguments long after they're over. You stop wasting energy proving yourself. You begin to live with more ease, more gentleness, more trust. You begin to see that the elephant of truth is vast, and that no one can hold it alone. And instead of despairing at your limits, you find joy in the shared search. Life becomes less about winning and more about discovering. Less about proving and more about connecting. This is the gift of humility. It takes us out of the prison of certainty and sets us in the spacious field of curiosity. It transforms enemies into teachers, differences into doorways, arguments into opportunities. And in that transformation, peace is born not the shallow peace of avoidance, but the deep peace of understanding. The elephant remains vast, mysterious, beyond full comprehension. But with humility, we no longer fear our blindness. We embrace it. We walk together, each touching a different part, each adding to the picture. And slowly, the fragments become a whole. All our lives, we search for teachers. We look for someone wiser, someone stronger, someone who will finally tell us what to do. As children, we look to parents. As students, we look to professors. As adults, we look to experts, leaders, gurus. And when life feels unbearable, we long for a voice that will guide us out of the darkness. This is natural. It is human. But there comes a time when the very search for a teacher becomes another trap. Because the more we look outside, the more we forget to look within. Imagine someone standing under a bright moon on a clear night. A wise friend points toward the sky, saying, "Look, there is the moon." The person sees the finger pointing and becomes obsessed with it. They study the finger, describe the finger, argue about the finger, even worship the finger. All the while, the moon shines above, untouched, waiting. This is what happens when we cling too tightly to teachers. Their words, their gestures, their methods, these are only fingers pointing at the truth. They are not the truth itself. If we mistake the finger for the moon, we miss the very thing they wanted us to see. The Buddha himself warned of this. He told his followers, "Be lamps unto yourselves." He knew that even his own teachings were not the final authority. They were guidance, not chains. They were a raft to cross the river, not a burden to carry forever. And once the river is crossed, the raft is no longer needed. Think of all the wisdom traditions of the world. Their greatest teachers did not ask for worship. They asked for practice. They wanted their students to discover within themselves the light of awareness, the strength of compassion, the clarity of truth. And yet, again and again, human beings fall into the same pattern. We elevate teachers into idols. We cling to their words instead of their meaning. We build walls of doctrine instead of bridges of understanding. But the truth has always been closer than we think. It has always been in the quiet of our own awareness, in the stillness of our own hearts. Consider your own journey. How many times have you searched for advice, read countless books, listened to endless podcasts, hoping that the next one would finally give you the secret? And maybe for a while, you felt inspired. You underlined sentences, repeated quotes, shared them with others. But eventually, the glow faded, and you found yourself searching again. Why? Because inspiration without integration fades. Words spoken from outside can only go so far. Until they awaken something within you, they remain surface level. True transformation begins not when you hear the teacher's voice, but when you hear your own. Imagine standing in front of a still pond. A teacher can point out the water, can describe its coolness, its reflection, its depth. But until you bend down, touch it, drink from it, the knowledge is not yours. You can memorize every description, but your thirst remains. In the same way, external guidance can inspire you, but it cannot replace your own direct experience. That is why the greatest teacher you will ever meet is already within you. It is the quiet awareness that has been with you since birth. It is the light that notices your thoughts, your emotions, your struggles, your joys. It is the part of you that cannot be destroyed, no matter how much life shakes you. You may call it wisdom, you may call it soul, you may call it Buddha nature. It does not matter. What matters is that it is yours, and it is enough. This realization can be frightening, because if the teacher is within, then responsibility is also within. You cannot outsource your awakening. You cannot pay someone else to walk your path. You must walk it yourself. But this is also liberating, because it means you are never truly lost. You are never truly without guidance. The lamp has always been in your hand. You only need to light it. Think of all the times you felt an inner nudge, a quiet intuition, a gentle knowing. Perhaps you ignored it, thinking, "Who am I to know? I need someone wiser to tell me." But when you look back, you realize the inner voice was right all along. That is the inner teacher. That is the light within. To live by this light is not to reject external teachers, but to see them clearly. To use them as guides, not idols. To learn from them, but not to depend on them. A good teacher does not make you more dependent. A good teacher makes you more free. And the moment you realize that the deepest teacher is already within you, you take back your freedom. You stop searching endlessly outside, and you start listening inside. The world becomes less about finding answers, and more about uncovering the answers you already carry. And step by step, you discover that the unnecessary teacher was never unnecessary because they failed you. They were unnecessary because you were never truly lacking. The wisdom you seek is the wisdom you are. Think of the moment when a child first learns to ride a bicycle. At the beginning, the parent or teacher holds the seat, steadying the bike, guiding the motion. The child wobbles, afraid, dependent on that steady hand. But the goal of the teacher is not to hold on forever. The goal is to let go. And one day, when the child is ready, the hand lifts away. The child does not even realize it first. They are riding on their own. The balance was always within them. The teacher only helped them discover it. This is the essence of the unnecessary teacher. Guidance is valuable, but the ultimate purpose of guidance is to set you free. The danger is that many of us never believe we are ready for the hand to let go. We cling to teachers, to methods, to systems, afraid that without them, we will collapse. But in truth, the balance is already ours. The light has always been within. Imagine carrying a lamp in the dark. For years, you think the lamp belongs to someone else. You think you must follow closely, or you will lose the light. But one day, you look down and realize the lamp has been in your own hand the whole time. The unnecessary teacher is the one who shows you what was always yours. This realization is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it means you cannot blame anyone else for your journey. You cannot say, "I never found the right teacher, so I never found peace." Empowering because it means you already have everything you need. You do not need to wait for permission. You do not need to wait for validation. You can walk your path now. The Buddha's words, "Be a lamp unto yourself," are not a rejection of teachers. They are a reminder of your own capacity. Teachers can point, can guide, can inspire, but they cannot walk for you. And when you lean too heavily on them, you risk missing your own steps. Think of a traveler crossing a river on a raft. The raft is essential. It saves your life, carries you across. But once you reach the shore, you do not strap the raft to your back and carry it through the forest. That would be absurd. The raft has done its job. The time has come to leave it behind. In the same way, teachings, books, mentors, even this very voice you are hearing now, they are rafts. They can carry you part of the way, but the journey is yours. Sooner or later, you must set them down and walk freely. What does this mean in daily life? It means trusting your own experience. When you sit quietly and notice your breath, notice your thoughts, notice the rise and fall of your feelings, that is your teacher. When you face a difficult choice and feel a quiet pull in your heart toward honesty, toward kindness, toward courage, that is your teacher. When you make a mistake, and instead of drowning in shame, you allow yourself to learn and begin, that is your teacher. These are not lessons from outside. They are the lamp within, shining when you give it space. The unnecessary teacher is not thrown away. They are honored for pointing you inward. But you stop mistaking their voice for your own. You stop mistaking the finger for the moon. And in that shift, something beautiful happens. You become intimate with your own wisdom. You discover that you are not empty, not broken, not waiting for someone else to complete you. You are already whole, already capable of walking, already carrying the lamp. Of course, doubts will come. The mind will whisper, "Who am I to trust myself? What if I'm wrong? What if I fail?" But remember, even failure is a teacher. Even mistakes are part of the path. A baby learning to walk stumbles many times. Each fall is not proof of weakness, but proof of learning. The same is true for you. Every step you take, even the clumsy ones, brings you closer to trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the inner teacher. And over time, you begin to see that life itself is the great teacher. Every joy, every sorrow, every challenge, every breath each is pointing you back to the same truth. The lamp is within. The wisdom you seek is already yours. You can stop searching frantically outside. You can start listening quietly inside. This is the final gift of the unnecessary teacher. They disappear, and in their absence, you discover your presence. They fall silent, and in the silence, you hear your own voice. They step aside, and you realize you have been walking all along. So the invitation now is simple, though not easy. Begin to trust yourself. Begin to live as if the light is already in your hands, because it is. And when you do, you will find that you are not lost, not lacking, not waiting. You are home. You always have been. We have walked together through many rooms of the human experience. We began with the restlessness of modern life, the endless chase for happiness that always seems just out of reach. We paused in the meadow of our own hearts, realizing that peace was never lost, only overlooked. We bent like bamboo in the storm, discovering the strength of flexibility, the resilience of acceptance. We tasted the sweetness of life without clinging to it, learning how craving turns honey into poison. We explored the middle path, the balance of wisdom and compassion, the two wings that allow us to soar. We learned the humility of the blind men and the elephant, discovering that truth is too vast for any one perspective, and that listening is as important as speaking. Finally, we saw that the ultimate teacher is not outside of us, but within us, the lamp that has always been in our own hands. And now, as we reach the end of this journey, what remains? What can we carry forward into the days and years ahead? The answer is both simple and profound: hope. Not the fragile hope that depends on circumstances being perfect, but the steady hope that grows from knowing peace is possible here and now. Hope that no matter how restless the world becomes, there is a still place inside you. Hope that no matter how many storms rage around you, you can bend and not break. Hope that no matter how strong the pull of craving, you can taste life fully and let go without fear. Hope that no matter how divided the world appears, humility can build bridges. Hope that no matter how distant wisdom feels, your inner teacher is already speaking. This is the hope that transforms lives. It does not erase pain. It does not erase difficulty. But it reminds you that you are never powerless, never truly lost, never without light. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast forest. For years, you have been waiting for someone to arrive with a map to show you the way through. But no one comes. At first, despair sets in. Then you look down and realize there is already a path beneath your feet. Step by step, you begin to walk. The forest does not shrink. The journey does not end in a day, but with each step, confidence grows. You realize that the path was always there. You only had to trust yourself to take it. Life is like this. The teachings you have heard are not maps to memorize. They are invitations to walk. You may stumble. You may get lost. But the lamp is in your hands, and the path is under your feet. Every moment you choose awareness over distraction, kindness over anger, balance over extremes, you are walking it. And the more you walk, the clearer it becomes. Sometimes the world will try to convince you that peace is impossible, that you must always be anxious, always be craving, always be divided. But remember what you have seen on this journey. Remember the ox grazing in the meadow, the bamboo swaying in the wind, the butterfly resting lightly in your hand. Remember the bird flying with two wings, the blind men discovering the elephant, the lamp shining quietly within you. These images are not just stories. They are reminders, seeds planted in your heart. And when life feels heavy, you can return to them. You can let them guide you back to balance, back to freedom, back to peace. And peace is not the end of the story. Peace is the beginning. Because when you touch peace, even for a moment, it changes how you live. You work differently, love differently, breathe differently. You carry yourself with a quiet strength that others notice, even if they cannot name it. And without trying, you become a light for others. You become the friend who listens without judgment. You become the parent who guides with both firmness and kindness. You become the coworker who brings calm to a stormy room. You become the stranger whose smile softens another's burden. This is how peace spreads, not through grand speeches or dramatic gestures, but through ordinary lives lived with extraordinary awareness. And the beauty is, you do not need to be perfect to live this way. You will still feel stress, still face challenges, still stumble. But now you know that stumbling is not the end. It is part of the path. You know that imperfection is not failure. It is humanity. And you know that the light does not leave you, even in your darkest moments. It waits, patient, steady, ready for you to turn toward it again. So as this journey draws to a close, the invitation is simple. Live as if peace is possible, because it is. Live as if the lamp is in your hands, because it is. Live as if the world, despite its storms, can be met with resilience, kindness, and humility, because it can. And when you forget, when you fall, when the weight of life feels too much, remember this: you are not alone. Countless others are walking the same path, stumbling, learning, rising again. The forest is wide, but we walk it together. And step by step, with lamps lit, we make the way brighter for one another. As we close this journey together, imagine standing at the shoreline at dawn. The sky is still dark, but in the distance, a faint glow begins to rise. Slowly, the horizon shifts. Light spills across the water, gentle at first, then stronger, until the whole sky is alive with color. This is what awakening feels like. Not a sudden explosion, not a dramatic revelation, but a quiet unfolding of light that has always been there. The sun does not need to be created, it only needs to be seen. And your peace, your wisdom, your compassion are like that sun. They have always been within you, waiting for the clouds of craving, fear, and division to part. The path you have heard is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you already are. The world will still test you. Bills will still arrive. Deadlines will still press. Relationships will still challenge. Losses will still hurt. But now, you carry different eyes. You see that stress does not define you, that craving does not own you, that division does not imprison you. You see that within every storm, there is a calm center. Within every difficulty, there is a chance to practice. Within every breath, there is an opening to peace. And as you return to this truth again and again, something remarkable happens. You stop living as if life is something to chase, and you begin living as if life is something to receive. You stop treating peace as a prize for later, and you begin discovering it in this moment right now. You stop waiting for the world to change before you can rest, and you begin resting in the middle of the world as it is. This is not resignation. This is freedom, and it is available to you every day. The ox is still grazing in the meadow. The bamboo is still swaying in the wind. The butterfly is still resting lightly in your open hand. The bird is still flying with two wings. The elephant is still waiting to be seen in full. And the lamp is still glowing quietly in your heart. These images are not just metaphors. They are reminders that life is guiding you, whispering to you, showing you again and again that you are already whole. The next time you feel overwhelmed, remember the bamboo. The next time you feel restless with desire, remember the butterfly. The next time you feel rigid in your beliefs, remember the elephant. The next time you doubt yourself, remember the lamp. These are not stories to entertain you. They are companions for the road. They are seeds of wisdom planted in your heart, ready to grow when you water them with practice. And practice does not need to be complicated. It can be as simple as pausing to breathe before reacting, as simple as noticing when craving arises and choosing not to feed it, as simple as speaking with kindness when anger wants to shout, as simple as listening deeply when someone disagrees with you. These small acts, repeated day by day, shape a different life. Slowly, you begin to embody what you once only understood with your mind. Slowly, peace becomes less of an idea and more of a reality. Slowly, you become the living proof that transformation is possible. And as you do, you become a gift to the world. Because the world does not need more noise, more anger, more chasing. It needs people who are steady, people who are kind, people who know how to bend without breaking, people who carry lamps into the darkness. You can be one of those people, not by being perfect, not by pretending to have all the answers, but by walking the path sincerely, step by step, breath by breath. And here is the final invitation. Do not just listen to these words and let them fade. Carry them with you. Practice them in the small moments of your day. Let them shape how you see yourself, how you treat others, how you move through the world. Because the real journey begins after the story ends. The real transformation begins when you close your eyes tonight and choose to pause before sleep. When you wake tomorrow and choose to breathe before reaching for your phone. When you face stress and choose to bend instead of break. When you face desire and choose freedom instead of compulsion. When you face division and choose humility instead of pride. when you face doubt and choose to trust the lamp within. These choices may seem small, but they ripple outward. They change your life, and through your life, they change the lives of others. This is how peace spreads not as a sudden revolution, but as a quiet dawn, rising steadily, lighting one heart at a time. And so we close where we began, with the pain of modern life. Yes, but also with the possibility of something greater. The treadmill of desire is not the only path. The storm is not the only reality. The poison is not the only taste. The extremes are not the only choices. The fragments are not the only truth. The teacher is not only outside, you are the teacher you have been seeking. The lamp is in your hands. May you carry it forward with courage. May you trust it when the night feels long. May you let it guide your steps until, little by little, the whole forest is filled with light. And when others see your lamp, may they remember their own.